Knowing how to avoid the most common sight reading pitfalls is essential if you want to be able to sight read with speed and flow. In today's video, I'm going to share 2 sight reading pitfalls with you that most piano players fall for. I'm also going to give you strategies to overcome these pitfalls so that you do not fall victim to them. And make sure you stay tuned to the end of the video where I'm going to share an incredible free resource with you that's going to help you take what you learned in today's video even further so that you can truly have success with your sight reading. Hey piano people, I'm Ashley from Ashley Young Music Studio. Welcome to the channel where my goal is to help you practice smarter, not harder. Let's dive in. The first sight reading pitfall that most piano players fall for is focusing on speed instead of optimizing for speed. Let me explain. Let's say that you decide that you want to sight read. So you grab a piece of music, you open it up, you put it on the music stand, and you put your hands on the keys and you start playing. This is an example of focusing on speed because you are so concerned with just starting to play through the piece and getting through the piece that you are rushing through everything just to throw your hands on the keys and play. And likely, if you've done this before, then you've experienced what comes next, which is a lot of wrong notes, a lot of pauses, perhaps some crash and burns, and frustration, ultimately, because you weren't actually able to play through it how you thought you might be able to. This is a huge pitfall. And the reason is because when you focus on speed, in other words, when you're rushing to just get your hands on the keys so that you can play, you are skipping crucial steps that set your brain and your hands up for success. And this results in a really big disconnect because if your brain hasn't had time to process what it's seeing on the page and to decipher that information to make sense of it so that it can give clear signals and directions to your hands about what they're supposed to play, it's chaos. You're never going to be able to play with any sort of freedom or fluidity, let alone the right notes, if that's how you're going about it. So instead of focusing on speed, I want you to optimize for speed. And optimizing for speed actually involves slowing down. Optimizing for speed involves looking at the piece of music before your hands touch the keys so that your brain has a minute to process the symbols that it's seeing on the page. You have a minute to decipher those symbols and to make sense of them. Because the more clarity your brain has, the easier it's going to be for your brain to send clear signals to your hands about where they're supposed to be and when they need to be there. So one strategy that I love to recommend because it's so effective in avoiding this pitfall is to set a timer for at least 2 to 3 minutes and force yourself to scan the piece of music for at least 2 to 3 minutes before you put your hands on the keys. This is going to ensure that you at least give your brain a minute to decipher some of the information that you're seeing on the page. And even if you don't get every single thing on the page, you're going to do a lot better with those 2 to 3 minutes of preparation than you do if you just dive in and start playing from the very beginning without giving your brain a second to think about things. Before we go on to pitfall number 2, if you're liking this video, give it a thumbs up, comment below and let me know what you like about it. Subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss any of the free tutorials that I release every single week. And copy this link so that you can either share it with a friend or share it with a group of adult piano players who you also know would benefit from having some information about how to sight read better. The second sight reading pitfall that most piano players fall for is getting distracted by unexpected things. And we're going to dive into exactly what I mean by that in just a second. But before we do, I want to let you know about a really cool opportunity that I have coming up in just a short few days for you. I'm hosting a free 4-day event called Piano Practice Lab. I only put this event on a couple of times a year, and it is incredible. People come to this event and they learn life-changing information. We get to hang out in Zoom, and I help you design a weekly practice routine that is structured so that you can move beyond the notes and truly get that consistency and accuracy that is required so that you can find that deeper level of confident musical expression. Seats are limited and it is a free event, so to reserve your free seat, pause the tutorial, follow the link in the description, enter your info to reserve your free seat, and then come back and finish this tutorial so that you don't miss out on pitfall number 2. So what I mean by unexpected things is wrong notes, mistakes with rhythm, little pauses when you're trying to play through the music, basically anything that happens that you weren't expecting to happen when you play through the piece. And oftentimes people have the wrong goal here. When people try to sight read, they're trying to sight read perfectly, or they're trying to figure out how to sight read with no mistakes. But this is the wrong goal, and it actually completely misses the point and distracts you from a better goal, which is how do you make it through a piece when the unexpected things happen. And the piece of advice that I give here after many, many, many years and decades of playing and teaching is that the only guarantee that I can make you about piano playing is that when you are playing a piece, something unexpected will happen. Right? I can't guarantee you what's going to go wrong. I can't guarantee you what's going to go right. I can't guarantee you how fast you can learn a piece, but I can guarantee you that when you sit down to play, something unexpected will happen because nobody is perfect, even the best of the best of the best professionals. And so when you shift the goal from how do I sight read perfectly or how do I sight read with no mistakes to how do I get through the piece when those unexpected things come up, because they are going to come up, all of a sudden, you have a much better question with a lot of great answers. I'm gonna give you 2 strategies that you can use to stay focused and to stay in the flow of the piece, even when those unexpected things happen. One of the things you can do is count out loud. And I know you might be thinking like, what? That's gonna make everything so much harder. If you've never counted out loud, then it will be a little bit tricky in the beginning. The cool thing about counting out loud is that it forces you to stay present in the moment. Because if I'm counting 1 and 2 and 3 and while I'm playing, it's pretty unlikely that my brain is going to wander. It's pretty unlikely that if I make a mistake, my brain's gonna go, oh no, what do? I can't do it, blah, 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 blah. I'm just gonna come back to the counting. And I'm always gonna come back to the counting, even when those unexpected things happen. It makes me stay in the moment, and it's gonna help you continue on with the piece, even if you want to get distracted by all of the other things. Another strategy that you can use to stay in the moment and to stay in the flow when the unexpected things happen is to make sure that you are consciously breathing. And I know that that one sounds obvious because duh, we all have to breathe in order to survive. But a lot of the times when people get nervous, they actually stop breathing, or they start breathing like really shallow breaths that aren't very helpful in getting oxygen to your brain. And so if you can train your brain to think, take a deep breath, every time something unexpected happens, it's gonna calm you. It's gonna help you stay focused and stay present. A lot of people, when something unexpected happens, instantly panic and they go into this place of not breathing and of shaking and of getting a little more nervous and a little more amped up, but that usually compounds the effects of the mistake. Whereas if you can take that big, deep, calming breath, it's gonna help you stay present. Now, I go so much deeper into this topic and I give you a lot more strategies on both of these pitfalls that we talked about in a free sight reading class that I recently taught. The replay of this class is still available for free. I'll link it in the description below, and if you are ready to get the 3 simple steps that you can take to sight read with less mistakes and more accuracy and flow like we were just talking about, go ahead and follow the link, enter your info, and you're gonna get a replay of that free class sent to your inbox. And if you want more tips and strategies to help you sight read better and faster, check out last week's tutorial where I taught you 3 chord patterns that are going to help you sight read 10 times faster. You can check that out right here. Happy practicing.